Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Quick Chat number 3. As we all know, the building industry is running at fever pitch. Delays in ordering materials, arranging trades, etc., getting approvals is all becoming a very drawn-out process. We ourselves, of course, experience a high level of workload from all our regular clients, which we appreciate. And what I'd like to do is just single out the 5 most obvious to us things that delay unnecessarily the building permit process from our perspective. Most of you are very good at what you do, but you know, the putting it in the queue mindset doesn't work. It actually slows us down. So we want to make our checklist smaller, and to be able to do that, really there's 5 things. And as I mentioned in Quick Chat number 2, resolving your planning consents before you come to us is always number 1. When you lodge your application, obviously you'll be missing the builder's details, which is okay. That can come in at the 11th hour, but try to lodge a complete application. As you all know, our standard format of letters always open up with submitting half dozen documents that we haven't received. So obviously that opens up Pandora's box, and that we have to crystal ball what may or may not be in those documents. So if you can supply the bulk of it, we all know what the major things are to allow that to happen: your title, SOAR reports, structurals, energy, architecturals. The third one is a bit trickier, and I'll touch on a bit more later in further videos, but protection notices and the procedure and the forms and the processes has been turned on its ear under the new building regulations. Increase the workload substantially on the building surveyor, both before you actually serve your notice and if determinations are required. So what I suggest is, if you do have an application and you're aware of what our policy is with requiring protection notices, so if you're doing an excavation on the boundary, high probability you need to serve protection notices. With that in mind, when you lodge the application electronically, maybe give myself a call and I'll deal with it sooner rather than later to prepare what they call a Form 6 and supply you with the relevant documentation you need to also include when you serve the protection notices to the adjoining owners. It's a minefield, absolutely. Red tape makes the old system look lame, but if you don't fill out the forms correctly or supply the information, it becomes redundant and you have to start again. That's really the main one that we need to address early, because obviously there's a time lag in that. So protection notices, obviously an issue, and there is a time delay, but it's important we get onto it earlier rather than later. At the other end, when you've received a checklist from us, and look, everyone gets a checklist, there's that many rules, we struggle to keep up with them, so don't feel bad about it. We want to issue the permit as quick as possible, but obviously we can't issue a permit if it's going to be scrutinised by a third party and find it's in error or short. So when you do get a checklist, try to gather all the information and responses and submit that in one hit. Because what happens in our office, and I'm quite welcome to show you behind the scenes when you're popping through, we actually prioritise those that supply us with all the documentation. Because if they do, we obviously can check it and everything's in order, the permit gets issued, it's out the door. Those that submit 2 out of the 6 items needed to issue a permit are not a priority, because we still can't issue the permit anyway. So just keep that in mind. If you're not sure, give us a call. We can advise you whether it's relevant to your job, because there are slight twists to different projects, different site conditions. The 5th and last point I just wanted to raise, and it helps us, which is a good thing, is on our checklist, when you pick, particularly generally not item number 2, it asks for changes on the architectural drawings. As we all know, the architectural drawings are always multiple plans. 10, 12 drawings to a set of plans for the simplest of the jobs seems to be the norm these days. as opposed to yesteryear where 1A2 drawing did everything. Obviously, looking for the answers through pages is very time consuming. So if you could just utilize the checklist and just simply write the drawing numbers next to each item so we know exactly where to go to look for that change and how you've addressed it, tick the boxes, and away she goes. So just 5 tips. I understand that some jobs don't allow for that. Delays in engineering, delays in getting stuff are paramount at the moment, and everyone's in the same boat. But as always, if you've got any questions, give us a call. Okay, so have a good day and enjoy the sunshine.